who plays Notorious Hoshikata. He's also a member of administration.
How y'all doing?
And CJ, who plays Yuri, a sand student, and he's also a member of administration and a member of Sand Council.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And we have Joe, who plays Hyoji and the Cloud Chief Menden.
Hello.
Okay, after getting some comments from the audience from the last episode, we're going to change up things up a little bit. So we have two segments, current events and special topics. Current events is basically going to be covering general announcements and IC events on NC. And special topic will vary on each episode based on what the audience wants us to talk about. So this week we'll be talking about what does it mean to be a shinobi on NC. And between these segments, we'll be having a QA session. So as we discuss these things, feel free to make statements or questions on the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. Before we begin our podcast, we're going to do some shout-outs. So we had 15 new members on the site that came in this month. So I'll give it to Jake to do the shout-outs.
All right. Just a short thing here for Sal from Cloud, Hijoshikina Mario from Cloud, Sutaku Sotao from Cloud as well. From Sand, we've got Aiko Konami, Susumu Naim, Aihara Yumiko, Akane Aya, and Yamato. Stone, we have Kenzaki Satsuki, Matsui Jome, Kadio, Itami Junko, Uzumaki Jasion. I wonder how I snuck that one in. And Noboru Jiro and Sushakage.
Oh, I hope you guys enjoy NC. So I'm really excited that we have 15 people because I think the previous month we didn't get anybody. So I'm really happy about this. All right, so going to current events. I'm going to hand off to Jake again for announcements because there's a lot of different things going on that I want to discuss.
Big thing I'd like to talk about is some of the new rules that we've come out with since the last podcast. Mainly the new travel rules, which I'm thinking everyone is really happy with, I hope. Basically, we made the new travel rules solely as a means for getting people to roleplay in the outer village zones to make it a little bit less troublesome to meet up outside of the village. You also no longer have to leave the village if you're going to do a contract search in your country. We've also, one thing that met with some flack was changes to two abilities, clumsiness and deflection. I've personally had several problems with people complaining about those. But probably the biggest rule that people are thinking about off the top of their heads is the new mission updates that we did, where we have once again tied missions to your IC rank. That one came out solely because if you have been paying attention to the announcements, we raised the amount of yen you got from training every week. So we tied the missions back to the IC rank to try and return a bit of a focus to role-playing, focus on in-character instead of the out-of-character reward side of things. So basically the admin team is putting out some new rules now. We're changing things up. We're trying to bring NC back as a role-playing game instead of a video game with words.
That's pretty funny because we have our power gamers and we have our role players, so it's kind of really bad to segregate them. But anyways, going to the current events, a lot of things are happening in Cloud. I'll describe Cloud as turning into Missing Land right now because we have so many people from Missing coming to our village. To start off, Hoshikata has been in the village for quite a long time. From the previous episode, we discussed about him organizing a Kai Summit in Moon Country. And he also wants to be in Cloud's good side by finding Anishi and killing him. Anishi is basically another rogue's missing nin from Cloud. And to help them be more trusting of him, of Hoshikata, we're trying to allow him to go and venture off the wilderness to find Anishi and kill him. And there's a thread that me with Shin and Hoshikata that's kind of interesting, and it's basically Hoshikata's complaints of Kushin. He was our current medical center, and he feels like Kushin has some insubordination qualities that he feels Shin shouldn't trust him. Jake, can you talk more about that?
He doesn't even know it was Kushin. He just knows there was someone at the meeting. Pretty much, Hoshikata was having a meeting with Shin. He brought up some suggestions. Shin was for it. Ayuma was for it. Kushin immediately began laughing, calling them all idiots, and threatening people. So Hoshikata's trying to actually, what he's aiming for, he's trying to get Shin to kind of consolidate power in the position of Raikage, make it so that the Raikage has more power over things instead of very little power compared to the three Sennin deciding things together. So he's trying to pretty much, in his mind, that is how a village should be ran, is the Sennin listen to the Kage, and the Kage has final call, not we're in front of what could be a threat to the village. Let's show him our weaknesses, like happened.
I find it very funny because Shin is not like a dictator, so I don't know how he's going to take that. So it's like...
Well, the problem is he's leading a, whether he likes it or not, he's leading a military village.
Yeah, it is.
So you can't, you cannot be soft about that. You have to have discipline, you have to have a chain of command, and if people don't follow that, then they have to be punished for it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's true. That's very true. So it's going to be very interesting how Shin's going to respond. I haven't really responded to the actual post yet because I've been trying to think about the exact response I want to give him. So, anyways,
he's hard to respond to when he gets wordy. He's a politician.
Yeah, that's how I am. That's how Shin is. Anyways, what's also cool is that Hoshikata has helped aid and apprehend Zenichi. Zenichi is a mercenary from Leaf, and he's trying to force entry into the village. And it's kind of funny that Hoshikata also is a mercenary, is trying to stop a mercenary from coming into the village. So
yeah, he has decided he's going to help out Cloud a bit for some reason or another that we all know of. But so pretty much, yeah. So pretty much he saw someone trying to run in without actually going through the right process. He stopped them. 2 Anbu showed up. I think the funniest thing in that thread was that the only actual Anbu there, though, kept screaming at Hoshikata, asking him who he was. And Hoshikata just ignored him and pretty much told him, look, arrest the guy, take him to jail.
Yes, which is pretty fly. I really thought that Zenichi was going to do like he was going to call a B mod, a battle mod. He didn't do that. So
he may have, except there were 3 people against him, so I don't see that happening.
That's very true. So.
He even said it in the thread, it would be suicide to do so.
So yeah, so the person who actually took him to custody was Senka, so kudos to her. Also, Mana. Mana is a very interesting character who previously was Renzo back before the hat. She's creating havoc in the village. So basically, her character for some reason hates humanity to the point where she wants to kill them all. So she wants to just cause destruction and things like that. So recently, she's actually killed some Cloud civilians in one of the RPs, which I didn't really know that until I actually read the thread. It's kind of interesting. The thread is between Mana, Hoshikata, and Akuma. Akuma is a half-breed demon, so he's from Mist, and
yeah,
he's basically being a demon hunter. So he spoke to Shin earlier in a different thread about being allowed to pretty much kill any demons in the village, and also being able to journey and find his father, who's a demon, and try to kill him as well.
He's pretty much Dante from Devil May Cry.
Yeah, basically. And he has a little brother too, so it's kind of funny. So like 2 brothers, like demon hunting. Have you guys watched Supernatural? It's basically what that is. Like basically, the 2 brothers going out in the world killing like demons. It's basically what that is. So
that's reminding me of it.
But anyways, going back to the demon hunting brothers, what was interesting is that recently Shin has accepted a contract with the yokai, which is the demons. And he has 3 years to find a comic contract to suppress Edna's forces to a bare minimum. So Edna is the overlord for the demon contract. So basically, Shin is accepting the contract so that he can destroy, kind of like make a bargain with the demon overlord to not come to the physical realm by asking her sister, the Kami, to, I guess, seal the realm. It's a very dangerous situation, but Shin truly believes that this will be the best option for him in the village. So, and it was very interesting during that thread between the demon hunting brothers and Shin. I had 2 NPCs were there. It was a yokai summon named Noizu, and Data. And Data is Shin's biological weapon. Basically, he's kind of like Data from Star Trek. So he's pure chakra, and he's basically using his own body as a vessel to contain the yokai that Shin has accepted. And sometimes the demon sometimes tries to create havoc by messing around with Shin, which is kind of funny because Shin is basically a paladin. Like, he's a good character, and he has a demon as a contract. And then we have Hoshikata, who's about. I think Jake, you say you're about to get the comic contract. Is that right?
No, I actually turned that down. Reason being, I got into a discussion with a member of the contract team who pretty much let me know the only way it would ever make sense for that to happen is if we were in Bizarro World.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. It will be pretty interesting because Hochikata is pretty much an evil character, and
he is straight up evil, and he knows it.
So Cloud is pretty crazy. And then there was one last thing for the missing stuff. Anatsu, who used to be Daichi in the old site, he recently assaulted a Cloud Jonin by throwing a kunai, I believe, at the gates. And the Jonin, his name is Kane, also known as Yomoko. So we're kind of worried that there might be a B-Mod coming up. So Kane might have some problems trying to subdue Anatsu. Hopefully nothing bad happens. So
yeah.
So, anyways, next topic I want to discuss is new leadership in Cloud. We have 2 new seinen coming in the woodwork. Hikari was a Cloud shooting, and she's been promoted to main branch seinen. Donatsu was seinen at the time, but he's stepped down, as well as Mesao. The reason why she was chosen is because she's an excellent Abbassian character, as well as a student of Takai Mesao. So I believe she will do a really good job, controlling the main branch division. So
I think so too. Although I think in character there might maybe be a bit of an issue because I know someone else who thinks they should have gotten that spot.
Oh, that's like you, right?
No. Oh God, no. Haruka.
Haruka. Oh, really, Haruka? Huh.
She was Donut's best friend. She had been in the branch for a while. I'm just saying, we might have some cat fighting, hair pulling stuff going on. Someone might pull their earrings out.
I'm smelling a pay-per-view setup.
A better person was chosen.
It's just so many chicks in Cloud right now. It's like we have Haruka, we have Hikari, what else we have? Kahako. There's some other players as well. So it's kind of funny. So, but anyways, medical branch seinen. Yes, we got a new medical branch seinen. Isaki Kushin has stepped down. He actually left the site recently, unfortunately, and Daisuke has taken his place. The reason why he was chosen is because he was a menin for a very long time, and in character he's been comrades with Hayashi and a lot of older generation characters. So I believe he'll do well as main branch seinen. If it wasn't for him, if he didn't accept the offer, actually, Joe Hyoji would have been possibly being nominated as main branch seinen.
Oh God, help me.
I'll take that from Joe's hands.
Thank you.
Wait. So, I thought when you were in Miss, weren't you a main branch at the time?
No, I was a very unique case. Pretty much I was Mednin, and then I got pulled into a position that was like right above all the branches. I was a Senin without the title pretty much, but I didn't belong to any branch. So when they kicked me out and threw me into missing, I essentially went right back to the branch I was last in, which was Mednin.
Really? Oh, that's weird. Oh, yeah, Miss. Yeah, I forgot. Miss is very weird with their leadership thing. So
we had a lot of interesting experiments going on with IC ranks. Pretty much, I was like the spy master of the village. If we had ever gotten around to setting it up, I was supposed to have a team of 4 shinobi directly under me that reported to me instead of their normal senin. And we would have just gone around spying on everyone and trying not to create too much havoc while we did so.
Yeah, so. But anyways, the last thing I want to talk about in Cloud is some of our veteran setting has recently come back. We have now Ryujin, Korobin, and technically Akira Saito. He's in the village, but the carriage isn't there. But I don't know. I feel like Kushi might come back. I don't really believe anybody who leaves the village anybody who leaves the site actually ever leaves. So that's one of the rules, right? Like you never actually leave the site. So.
I know
You never
he,
leave NC. You just
Yeah.
go on a break.
Go on a break, yes.
I know he had a lot of issues with certain people. If he's listening to this, man, I miss you. I really do. I've never had a problem with you, and I want you to come back, buddy. You were a good role player.
Yeah. So hopefully our old people can come back. So anyways, I want to hand it off to CJ for Sand current events.
Sand current events. Well, we got a lot of stuff going on. The Anarchy event is still running strong. A lot of people are finally starting to make decisions as to how they're going to play out in the event, which is sort of the more important part. Because, like I said, everything's changed, all the settings changed, the rules of how the village is governed has changed. And now we're start getting clues handed out to the villagers, and they're kind of getting an idea of how to function within the new society. And I have to actually give a shout out to one of our sand ninjas. His name is Homura. And he was in the very first topic, literally the very first topic in the Anarchy event. He joins, and then one of the Cabal, one of the main antagonists for this, joined the thread too. And it's basically just like this snarky, nose upturned, really just nasty, venomous female. She's kind of, all slithery and slimy, kind of your typical seductress assassin type, right? And, she's doing her thing. She's going around moving between people and just nonchalantly just kind of sits down on the topic and starts making fun of all the dead people. Because they're clearing out the rubble of the Kazakage Tower, where all the people inside, were either blown up or crushed. So she's making fun of them as they're digging for, mangled bodies and all that. And Homura just kind of, sort of just nonchalantly leans up against the wall underneath her, and it's just like, I like you. And then proceeds to go on having multiple posts where he's just, hitting on her and just trying to work his way in. And because of the nature of this particular Cabal character, where she's kind of, just sort of slimy and does things for fun, and, everything that it benefits her, she would follow up on. So she sort of just took him and then left the topic. And now, well, I mean, he's actually, like, tied in with them now. Like, he's the only person that was just like, I want to actually partake in the Anarchy, as opposed to, trying to fight, just wholly opposing them and trying to fight for the village. It's just like, I'm going to get in this. This is interesting. I want to be part of the problem.
He has my thumbs up.
Yeah. I was really impressed. He was one of the only people that, he's the only person who's done that. And to further prove the point is that there were several topics that are occurring along the same timeline, right? In another topic, it was two other members of the Cabal that were basically in the upper area of Sand where the rich people go, and there's this really big theme about knocking rich people and people who are self-entitled down several notches, right? So you have these two people there, and they're gathering rich people out of their homes, ripping them out. They're basically like, we're gonna either come in and find you, or you're gonna come out and wait for us. And so people came out, they hunted people, and they rounded up like 30 or so, fat rich people. And then they proceed to escort them to the worst part of Suna, which is now like the epicenter, because they released all the criminals and all the psychotic patients from the mental ward and the prison. So you have the underbelly of Suna now is like the capital of Suna. That's where everyone sort of congregates. So they lead all these rich people down there, and they proceed to line them up. And they get in one of the figures, Akio, gives this big speech about these people always turn their nose on. They kick dirt at you. They look at you as lesser than human. This is your opportunity to get back. And then he essentially sets them on them, and all these people get slaughtered. Well, it's right during that time that Naginisa, the very venomous woman I mentioned earlier, and Homura show up, and she's just like, kill this guy. And he proceeds to actually, not even hesitating, whip out his sword and decapitates this guy. He just willingly murdered one of Suna's own, just like not even a second thought. And I was just like, I sat there and I silently clapped. Like I gave him a solo clap because I was so impressed that he's dedicating himself to going this deep. And more importantly is that reading his narration, he's actually doing this because he's trying to ninja his way in. So he's still very much for Sam, but he's willing to take the necessary risks and sacrifices to try to hopefully get an inside guy. However, he discovers that he is only being viewed as a toy. Like, he's essentially a piece of meat to entertain this woman, and Akio, who has a brief exchange with him, essentially gives him a timeline that he's going to live. It was essentially, you're not supposed to keep your toys for more than a couple of hours. And she's like, yeah, well, I just got them. So he now knows that the more time he spends and the less time he does doing anything relevant, the sooner he's going to be put in danger. And so he's going to continue being put in a lot of these difficult situations where he has to make choices that are going to make him look like one of the enemy, which could bite him in the back later, or really be like great success. So it's really exciting that he's following so deep in that. And just a lot of other people are getting some face-to-face time with the different members of the Cabal. And it's important because these guys are human. The Cabal agents are human, but they're trained to kill ninja. And it has yet to be revealed their method in which they deal with shinobi, because I'm keeping it under wraps purposely. But it's pretty intense. And so they're having all these confrontations with the bigger figureheads of Sand that have not been taken care of, because like Mikoboshi, the Anbu Sennin, was immediately captured and locked down because he was such a threat. He's actually, his character is actually an ancient from the origins of Wind Country, when gods used to rule over humans and had them as slaves. His character is it's like a crazy backstory, but essentially he's one of those crazy super old he's one of those crazy super old spirits, but inside a human form now. His backstory is super awesome, but it's the fact that he's so intelligent and so conniving. He's basically like Hades. He was the ruler of shadows, so he's kind of like Loki, kind of like all these crazy super planning villains all rolled into one. And he was just like immediately like, this guy's a threat, and we lock him up. It's fortunate because Mikoboshi, the writer himself, has an INPC that he was considering switching into, so he's role-playing with that for the bulk of the event, which gives him an opportunity to get familiarized with that character. But so we removed him. We locked the Kazakage outside of the village, and we gave the stipulation of anyone leaves inside or out, we start killing people in mass numbers. So he's now stuck outside and has to figure out how to help his village from the outside. Koro is actually the only person who was left without a countermeasure in place. And he was just confronted by one of the Cabal agents, and it was essentially like, you weren't worth our time. We've watched this village for so long that you yourself have never done anything significant enough other than have a really big title and be really blusterous and be full of words, but your actions really not follow up. So it was just like, you weren't even worth our time. So it was just trying to light a fire under his ass to try to go do something, but they were basically goading him out. Because he has the advantage that he's a Rukudo Sennin, so he has multiple bodies. However, because he was basically the only figurehead left of Sand that wasn't basically captured or removed, they're watching him very closely. All of his different forms. So he has to choose how he makes his decisions really carefully. I think what's going to shoot him in the foot, though, is that he's still trying to be super diplomatic and super helpful. Because he was like, well, if you need help, you're welcome into my home. My doors are open too, despite the fact you just threatened that you're basically trying to kill everyone inside the village. You can still walk inside. We've got, kick your feet up on the couch. We'll heat up some pizza bagels for you, and don't worry about it. So, I mean, he needs to make his decision as to how he's going to actually treat, this invasion. And I think the most important thing I want to note is that in the last week, because I've been up and down, I've had some things to deal with in the last week or so. So my activity for the event hasn't been as high as it was when it first started. But in the last week, I swear, almost every single time I've looked at NC, we've had a new Sand member come.
Yeah,
I think,
it's like
in the last week alone, I think we had like 6 new people show up.
Yes, right, 6 people. It's amazing that how many. I mean, Sand, even though it's a closed event, like so many people are coming into the site. It's incredible how you guys are doing this. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was super happy about it. We have, I think, 3 new students, and I think 3 OCRs. There's 4 students and 2 OCRs. But the thing I'm happy about is that if you look at the last couple of months, we still had students join the village, but they never followed up on actually posting anywhere. And that happens. You see that from time to time, and it's really sad, especially if their applications are good. But these people immediately were just like, okay, we created our things, and boom, they just started role-playing. we had 4 new topics with all the new members in them, like almost immediately. So I mean, like that was really cool to see, and they were like really taken by the change of sudden settings. They're like, oh, so this is what the village used to be like, and they're like, oh, there was a lot of changes. This is really cool, and people are adapting to the new environment. So I think it's actually more interesting for people who are like just coming back and deciding to join Sand and now seeing everything that's going on. It gives them a really good start, especially with like a fresh character, a really good start to start role playing with, because it gives you such a fantastic foundation to really start moving with later on.
No doubt about that. Like I remember when I started playing on NC, like I think 2008. We were in the middle of like struggle with the leadership with Aeon at the time, and I believe Miss had some issues with him, and it was really cool because it was very dynamic. There was different characters going on. It was different stories. Like for instance, Maysal's friend, I think I forgot his name. I think he committed suicide because of something that happened. It was crazy. So like when students get involved in these stories and things like that, it makes them want to be more part of the village. So, but anyways, since we've done with Sand, I want to go with Stone. Since unfortunately we don't have a Stone member, so I'll give it to Jake to talk a little bit about what's going on in Stone.
Yeah, I have actually been speaking with a member of Stone about some of the things going on in the village. Not much that they were able to give me an answer to. Probably the biggest thing would be the fact that Kata, the Mednin Sinin, retired back into his old PC and left Stone without an actual Sinin. From my understanding, in the meantime, Inu Endo, the Tsuchikage, has actually taken the position of Mednin Sinin. But I know that Hisori is actually rolling out a bunch of missions trying to rebuild a hospital in the village. So that's probably going to pan out well for him. Another big thing, although I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, is Daiki actually had his NPC get killed right at the gates of Stone. So that could turn out very badly for people.
Yeah, it's kind of... Didn't Daiki die initially before?
He's died a few times before. But this one was an NPC. It was the one that he was in Stone, was RPing with Saranishi, and he got in a fight against someone. What happened was Endo actually broke that fight up, told the people that he got in a fight with to watch over him and Saranishi, and I guess Daiki just didn't like that, because next thing I know, that character is force exiting the village, got caught by Soji, who got offended at Daiki trying to force exit the village, got offended at him insulting the village, and killed him. I'm thinking it might be able to turn out bad, though. If anyone finds out and sends it back to Cloud that a Cloud shinobi was just brutally murdered at their gates, that could turn out very badly.
Well, anyways, I still can't imagine some of those things that happened. But anyways, Q&A. So during the podcast, some people were asking questions about about the current events, and someone has asked, I think, who was it? Someone asked about the actual Cloud Gods arc that I mentioned in episode 1. And yes, that is still ongoing. It's still a plan in progress, but right now I'm shifting gears to a different story arc that's kind of been ongoing before. It's basically the organizations that's the birth of organizations that have been created in Cloud. Basically, they are civilians that are trying to, hinder the progress of Shinobi and their contracts and things like that. And a lot of people know about Titan. I think Jake Koshikata is in control of Titan.
I'm working on it. Right now, Zach still has control of the organization, but we have been discussing plans for Hoshikata to just walk in, kill the NPC in charge, and take it for his own. So when that happens, I'm actually going to try to work not only with Cloud Council, I'm going to see if I can work with the other councils about spreading Titan into the other villages, because their goal is not just something for one country, it's for the whole world. So if everyone would work with me, we might be able to make some conflict happen that doesn't just outright involve someone nuking or being an idiot.
Yeah, so I really think this organization, especially the Cabal and Sand, could be really interesting, because we can have a big organization that basically tries to destroy the Shinobi Khan basically. So hopefully that will become a reality. But the Gods arc, I still want to do that. I know Keiji was the one who initialized the idea, so I'll be talking to Keiji on what we can do about that. There's some other questions we have as well.